Hello, good morning. I'm just going to check that I'm live in the right place, so bear with me. Hopefully there will be some people joining us this morning. Alfie's come to say hello. Okay, I am live in the right place. That's always a good start. Feeling a little bit disorganised this morning, having been away for a few days, but I've got a couple of cards to share with you this morning using a sneak peek collection of products that will be coming officially in the January to June mini catalogue next year. Dare we talk about next year. Morning Lucianne. Morning Vicky. How are you both? Hope you're doing well. Yes, so I'm using the sneak peek collection, but they will be available next month. So on the 2nd of November, you'll be able to purchase any of the products that I'm using this morning. Now, a word of warning that not all of these items will be carrying over to the mini catalogue. Morning, Mary. How are you? How are we all? You're out of lockdown, finally. Yay, hallelujah. I'm so happy for you. It's strange, isn't it? I know when we came out of lockdown, it still felt a bit strange for quite a while, and it still does a little. It doesn't feel like normal, but I'm glad to hear that you're all going to be moving forward anyway. Yes, so always distracted by your comments, so lost my train of thought. But yeah, using the sneak peek products, I think I was about to say that not all of these items I'm going to show you will be carrying over into the mini catalogue, but I will explain that in a moment. So there's a few of you on. I think I might turn you down. Alfie's having a little wander about. He's come over for a bit of fuss, and now he's just settled down right by my feet, which is typical of him. I'm gonna move my lighting a little. Okay, let's make a bit of room on the desk, turn you down and get everything sorted and ready. Okay, sorry, trying to talk and read comments. Obviously, I'm not very good at multitasking. I always used to moan at Jason, like, can't you do two things at once? And I can no longer do them. So, right, bear with me. Excuse the palm of the hand. Let's get you switched down. Move everything around. You can just see as I'm turning around, I should have moved that first, that Ellie, you've popped on. Good morning, good morning. Let's zoom in a bit. Get some, oh, my light's at a funny angle. And my MacBook is frozen. Great timing. Thanks for that, internet. It always does it, doesn't it? So annoying. Right, let's move the chair out of the way. I've got some flyers here. Let's just wait for catch up. Make sure I'm in shot. I'm tempted to move you down a bit, but then it's going to move everything around. I think we're okay there. So how are we all doing? What have we been up to? Did you all have a fabulous weekend? The weekend already feels like a million years away from me. It's just like non-stop. So morning Ruth, how are you? How are you doing? Oh, you got your parcel. I decided to put it in the post because I knew I was away the weekend. And yesterday I was back and forth, and I just thought I better put it in the post because I'm never going to get to you. And there'll be another one coming very soon. I'm waiting for another delivery to come. So yeah, super exciting. Lots going on. So Eden's Garden. I think I shared with you last week these little flyers. Just checking comments on my Mac. Might have to come down a little bit. Let's wait and see. Yeah, so shared the flyers with you. So basically these products, you cannot purchase them just yet as a customer. You will be able to get them on the 2nd of November. And if you are a demonstrator, you can order them early. So we're having what's called pre-order. Or if you were thinking about joining my team, you can add these items to your starter kit, which I think is fabulous. So a great addition and a lovely great bundle, a collection of products to add to your starter kit. So we've got some lovely samples here of what's been made with them. There's not a lot of inspiration out here, and I only started playing with this yesterday. I didn't get back from the weekend away until mid-morning, so I literally had a couple of hours because I had to go out then at lunch. Well, about 12 I went out, so I had literally a couple of hours to put something together. But basically we have a bundle, or you can buy the dies and the stamps individually. We've got some papers, we've got this beautiful cotton paper that I'll show you, and some lovely gems. But you can also purchase the whole collection under one code, and you still get your 10% off when you buy that, because when you buy a bundle you always get 10% off. So let's move those out the way and let's look at the real thing, and then we can get stamping. Now, as I said, I only literally inked this up yesterday, so I have not really had much of a play with it. But here are the dies. So not a huge set of dies. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dies on here, but I can see so many uses with these. This one standalone, just to create a border on your card. But in the, let me pull back in this flyer. Can you see this lovely wreath here? I believe that has been created using this die here. So it's been chopped and cut to create, I believe it's that one. I cannot imagine that it is all of these small ones. It looks like it is that one, definitely, but how beautiful is that? So I'm excited to explore more with this, and I will do that over the coming week, although I have my retreat at the weekend, so I am snowed under. Let's just say, because those of you who know me do know that I'm pretty organised, but I feel like at the moment I'm looking around my studio and it's what I would describe organised chaos. So I've still got pillow gifts to make, I've still got other things to sort, I've got packing to do. Yeah, there's a lot to do here, but it's kind of organised. I just need to make the time to get it all together. So yes, so I'm hoping at some point, it probably won't be this week, but maybe next week I'll be creating some more projects with this. And if you are a member of my team, we're using this for our monthly team gathering this month. So super excited about that. Another part of the collection are these gems. They're called garden gems. Let me pull out the paper. Now I think in some of the other countries they weren't able to get hold of these, but if I take the cellophane off, it's quite a huge set. Let's remind myself of how much all of these are. So the stamps on their own are £22, the dies on their own are £33, but if you buy these two together as a bundle they come out at £49.50, so you're saving yourself 10% there. Then these beautiful gems here are £6.50, which I think is great value. And you've got some here in soft succulent. These, what do they get? Is it marquee they call them? What does it say? Marquee, I think you would pronounce that. And then you've got these other ones, which are cherry cobbler, I believe. Let's have a look. Yes, cherry cobbler. Now this is one of the items that won't be carrying over. These are available while supplies last only, so they won't be heading into the mini catalogue in January. They're just part of the early release. Then we have two other things. Where have I put them? Right behind me. I'm going to roll off my chair. We have the most gorgeous, let's move these out of the way, papers. They are called Ever Eden. Yes, all the Edens, all the Evers, all these things, I'm going to get totally confused. So we've got Eden's Garden, Eden Dies, Ever Eden Paper, Garden Gems. It gets confusing. These papers, honestly guys, if you don't manage to get anything else, get yourself these papers when they come out next month. They are delicious. That's the word I will use to describe. They are a speciality pack, so they're slightly more expensive than an average pack, but it's because you've got this lovely gold foiling within them. So predominantly evening evergreen and soft succulent. Look at that. I hope you can see how beautiful that is. I think, let me pull out page by page because I've got all of the doubles here. It's just gorgeous, so usable. Honestly, there is nothing in here that is too bright or too heavily patterned. Definitely not for me. Absolutely stunning. This one is quite gold, as you can see, with the evergreen background. So a lot of foiling on that one. Look how pretty this is. Now, for me, this is not a Christmas stamp set, but I can see me creating lots of Christmas things with this. I think it's perfect for Christmas. All the greenery that's going on. So here's the reverse. Now I've chopped into a couple of these. So we've got this like lovely splat. And you know how much this girl loves a splat. Got a nice like ombre effect going on this one. And then like a textured grid. Nice white background on there. This lovely pattern, which would be great for masculine projects. A nice leafy sheet here with the soft succulent background. And then to finish, this kind of like dash print. So absolutely stunning. I've got a little message popping up. Absolutely stunning set of papers. Of course you get, I've shown you both sides of the paper there. So you get 12 sheets. You get 6 designs and then you get 2 of each sheet. Now the other thing I'm opening here is the cotton paper, and it's called Ever Eden cotton paper. Doesn't want to come out, and I haven't used any of this yet, and initially I feel I'm going to be die cutting with this. So you get 10 sheets in here. You've got 5 soft succulent and 5 evening evergreen, and I can feel that it feels, this is the first time I've got it out, it feels very soft on one side. You can see the texture of it. It's not like tissue paper. It's almost, it's got such a different texture, and it's slightly rougher on the back. So I'm excited to play with this and wonder what I'm going to create with this. I mean, initially I can see it being scrumpled up and like pushed into a gift bag and then making a lovely tag to go on it and popping a gift in the bag. But I feel like it would be wasted for that purpose. But the texture, can you see like how soft it is? It is beautiful. And this is just £7.50 here, and you get 10 12 by 12 sheets. So another item that's only available while supplies last, so this won't be carrying over into the mini catalogue. So I believe that's all there is in the collection. So we've got stamps, dies, DSP, cotton paper, and then the lovely gems as well. So let's make a start. Let's bring in my colour combo. There's going to be no surprises here today. Soft succulent, evening evergreen. And then although this one says petal rose, it's actually petal pink. And the front cover's faded, and I don't know why, but even on the new ones, the front cover is slightly faded, the stickers on these. I do not know why that is. If anybody does, that would be, that would answer a question. So that is my colour combo. Move all of these papers out of the way and bring in my first kit. Sort my lighting a little bit. I was fiddling with it before the weekend, and I've kind of moved it out of alignment. Right, so I'm using my 3 colours. I'm also going to be doing a little bit of blending with my blending brush with the Soft Succulent. And I'm only using a couple of the images in this set. So I'm only using one of the greetings because I'm just keeping it really simple today. And I pulled out my brick and mortar because I feel this goes really well with kind of leafy images. It kind of works together. So I've popped that one up by my machine. The other thing I'm going to be using is the seasonal label dies. I'm going to be using a couple of the labels that I've been using. I was going to say this month. Would it be this month or has it been longer than that? Cannot remember. And also another set that springs to mind is the Forever Fern, and I think these two work beautifully together. Can you see they're obviously designed by the same concept artist because they are very similar, but I do love the larger kind of leaves on here, so I can see me pulling this one in and using it alongside here. Right, let's see what's in the kit. Let's have a quick scroll for any comments because I cannot see what is happening. Vicky, you love this sweet. I know it's delicious. Do you know, I was literally so excited when this was released to us as demonstrators. I could not wait for it to arrive. I just loved the papers. As leaders, we got to have a sneak preview before it went up on the demonstrator website. And I was so eager for it to be released and to be able to order it. So good morning, Zana. How are you? What are you up to today? It's beautiful here in Gloucestershire. We have been blessed with some beautiful weather the last few days. Very, very lucky. So we were away on our annual dog walking holiday. So we don't always go there, but we went over to the forest, stayed in the log cabin, lovely hot tub. We have lots of lovely food, and we walk all day and have lots of fun, lots of chat, lots of catching up. We stop for lunch out. We find a good pub en route. Stop for lunch out. Let's get these. In fact, I don't know if I'm using the Petal Pink ink on my 2 projects, but that is the colour, one of the colours it's in the combination I'm using. Yes, so we had a really great weekend. Lots of walking. As I said, I took my new wellies and I didn't get to break them in because it was so dry. We didn't need wellies on at all, just walking boots. So yeah, there we go. They'll come in. You know, that weather will be heading our way soon, I am sure. Susanna, you're okay? Your asthma's playing you up. Oh, bless you. But you're well. That's good. That's good to hear. Right. Let's get some adhesives and tools on the way. So as usual, I'm going to start with a basic white base layer, and this measures 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. So what did you all get up to over the weekend? Because it was so nice. I hope that you managed to get out, have a bit of fresh air. Then did you see my pieces here? So I'm using a piece of this lovely sheet here with the gold foiling in. I've got lots of scrappy bits here to do, a bit of die cutting on. Got a bit of stamping to do. Let's start with our first layer though. Put that to one side. Meant to grab another, we'll have this new one, another sheet. Because look at this one. I think that one is ready for recycling. So let's treat myself to another sheet of fresh grid paper. Always love a fresh sheet of grid. And to start with, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Going to pull in this little leafy image and this one with the dots. I love the little dots that are amongst this. So I think I'm saying that, and I think I've pulled out another one. No, I haven't. I've got the right one. So it's this one and this one. So really lovely. And these stamps, I believe they're what we call distinctive. So you'll hear me talk about this before. They have, the way they're etched, they give like, make it look like there's depth. So you don't get like a full coverage of stamping. It's not like stamping with a solid stamp. There's kind of lots of tiny, I don't know if you can see this, but lots of tiny etching in there that gives that effect of depth. So what I'm going to start with first, I'm going to open up my inks. So we've got Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent, two of my favourites, both from the latest set of ink colours as well, which we all know that I love. If you're hopping on, please do say hello. It's lovely to know who's here. And what I'm going to do is stamp a couple of images on this background, but I think first I might add a bit of base colour using my blending brush. So let's pull in the Soft Succulent and pick up just a bit of colour. And as you all know, you see me do this all the time, I'm going to take some colour off first. So take the initial off, and then I'm just going to add a bit of colour all the way around the edge. So I'm just working in a circular motion, hoping it's not rocking the table. Pick up a bit more, take some off, and then I start off of my paper and then work on. And then this, if you work this way, you can gradually add colour to your layer without kind of like banging down an intense colour to start with. I know I go on about these brushes all of the time. If you haven't got them, you honestly need to put some in your basket the next time you shop. They are just brilliant. I think that's enough. I just wanted a subtle, if I hold that over my layer, hopefully you can see the difference. So it just adds a subtle pop of colour. It's not even really a pop. I need to keep that there. Scrolling, scrolling. Hello, Annette. How are you all the way from Queensland? Nice to have you join us. Thanks for stopping by. Right, these two stamps here, we're going to do them in both greens. So we're going to start with the largest image first, which is this one. I'm going to do this in the paler green, which is the Soft Succulent. Right, I need to just scroll up a bit. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. I don't think I need to come in anymore. And I just want to pop up in the top corner here one image. I think that's all I'm going to do on this one. And can you see how you've got like darker and lighter parts of this? The stem is like a solid line, and then the leaves are very kind of graded. And then with the evergreen, Evening Evergreen, just going to add in this little spotty dotty leaf up in the corner, and then a couple down at the bottom as well, just to kind of balance it out. And I feel balance is always good when you're crafting. It's always good to balance things out, which is why we often, when we're adding like bling at the end, when we're putting on gems and rhinestones, even flowers, I like to pop them into like threes and kind of assemble them in a triangle so that it kind of balances out. You're liking this stamp set, Zanna? Okay, I love that little dotty image. Right, so that's that layer done. While we're stamping, going to use the hello there because it's a general one. We've got some lovely sentiments in here. We've got dear friend, how are you? Now, of course, you can split this. So you can ink it up with a marker pen and just use the dear friend. Or of course you could just use the how are you, or you could stamp it and just chop it out. You could stamp it and fussy cut around it. We've got sending hugs, which is lovely. I'm always sending virtual hugs to people. Love this kind of typewriter script style of font. Another little pop-up, someone is chatting to me. Let's celebrate everything. That's a really good all-rounder. That could go on a card, on the front of a card, and then inside you could say happy birthday. I really like this one as well. My heart is tied to yours, tug if you need anything. I think that's so sweet. And then of course we've got the hello there. So a good all-round set of sentiments or greetings. What's the difference, guys, between a sentiment and a greeting? Or is it the same thing? Somebody tell me, what are your thoughts on that? Because I call them both and I've no idea if I'm calling them the right thing or not. Let's swap these inks back around. So I've cut myself a little skinny strip. I do believe this is actually a scrap that's left over from when I cut inserts for my cards. And they do vary, these sizes, but I do think this will fit. Now, you may have noticed that this is red rubber. It's not photopolymer. I'm just noticing. Hello, Kim. How are you? Sorry, I could see that pop up on my phone. I can read that. I am getting used to these glasses. It's not so clear to see my Mac, but anything that's up on my phone I can see. So, yeah, we're using the rubber, the cling stamp. Hence why I'm not using my foamy mat. But the disadvantage I find with these is that you obviously cannot see through. And I can see that when I've stuck my sticker, I've just got a slight bit overhanging at the top, which means I haven't stuck it straight on. And I know that when I stamp this image, it's not in the middle. If you look at my rubber, the greeting is actually lower to the bottom of my rubber. Whereas on this side, it looks like it's closer to the top. So you have to play around. And as I've told you before, the way around that is to ink it up, follow a line on your grid paper if you use grid paper. If you don't, I highly recommend you do. It does help you get things straight. And then stamp it down, and then you can judge how you need to stamp when you're stamping onto like a skinny strip like this. Of course, you could always stamp and then die cut it out with a label. That's probably the easiest thing. Now I'm going to have to move this down just a tad so that I can see. And I've cut myself a couple of these. I think that's a little bit low. That will be okay. So it's not too bad, it's a little low. So I know when I'm stamping this down that I need to go a little bit higher. It's hard to explain. A little bit higher because the sticker is in the wrong place. Doesn't line up that well, but that is totally fine. So we've got our greeting. The other thing I need to stamp, did I put a scrap in? I did. Is this beautiful leafy image. I think this is my favourite one out of the set. Don't know why. I do love this one with the dots, but I just love the formation of this one. And I want a couple of these in the evening evergreen. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that, how you get the graded like depth. Oh, I can see something on the reverse of there. That will be fine, it's not going to show. And I think I've already cut one of these ready. So let's have a look. I may have, I may not have. No, I haven't. What I might do is just do another one, just in case it shows through. Let's do another like that. I'll chop it off because we can save all of that paper. I'm just having a little scratch. Right, let's just fussy cut these out for a moment, and you can, while I'm chatting, you can all tell me what you got up to at the weekend. So, and then in the meantime, I'll do a bit of waffle as usual while I'm cutting, and tell you a little bit about my weekend. So yeah, we went over to the Forest of Dean. There were 5 of us and we stayed in a log cabin in the forest. We've been doing this for quite a few years now, so we normally go in October. Just firstly cutting this out, not being too particular, and as you know, I like to leave a little white gap around the edge. Makes it easier to cut out, but I think it also looks nice when it's cut out as well. Yeah, so we've been doing this holiday for a few years now. It's quite expensive to rent the log cabin, but it's a nice experience. You're right in the woods, and you can literally walk out of your door into the woods and walk for miles if you wanted to. We slowed down the pace a little, but we did only about 8 miles on Saturday, and we did about 10 on Sunday, I think. So it's just nice, and there are lots of like lovely pubs en route and little cafes where we can get ice cream and coffee and cakes and all sorts of lovely treats to keep us going. And it's a great opportunity to catch up with each other as well. So we go with Jason's sisters, so it's lovely. Just have a quick look at comments. Annette, you worked in the garden on Sunday. So you're out in the garden in the morning, and then you made some cards in the afternoon. That sounds like bliss to me. Gardening and card making. So yeah, we had it's called Forest Holidays, and they have like they've got an on-site cafe, like a restaurant. You can have breakfast in there if you want to. We did on Sunday, we had breakfast, which we normally have breakfast in. We normally cook for ourselves most of the weekend and have one takeaway. But this time we had 2 takeaways. Saturday night and Sunday evening as well. So yeah, it's just relaxing. It's lovely. We come back from the walk, and we've been out walking all day. The dogs are exhausted because, of course, when we do 10 miles, they do about 40 miles. They just love it. And even though Sunday it was really warm, Sunday actually we hopped into the car and we drove for about 25 minutes, half an hour, to a place called Tintern Abbey. Well, Tintern. And we parked up at the Abbey and we walked along the river and into the woods, and we were quite sheltered, so we were quite protected, which is good for the dogs because, you know, it was perfect weather really, because you can't do this kind of holiday in the summer because it's just too hot for the dogs, and it's unfair. Well, it's dangerous as well. We all know how dangerous it is to walk dogs in the heat. So yeah, it was perfect. Lovely weekend. So Ruth, you were gardening as well. You dug out a new flower bed and you moved some plants and you added some new bulbs. That's something I need to do around here. Your arms are aching, but it was a good workout. I know. Gardening is tough, isn't it? It's tiring. But yeah, I always see it as a bit of a workout. We've got, as you know, lots of leaves coming down. So that's our workout at the moment, is raking those up and getting those sorted. Right, let's move those out of the way. Bring in some pieces. Now I've also cut a piece of gold foil. I think you get 2 12 by 12 sheets, and I think it's about, I want to say £4.50, £4.75. So amazing value for 2 large sheets of this lovely foiled paper. And I say paper, it's like card, it's quite thick. So I'm going to add that, and I need to do a little bit of die cutting. So I've got a couple of pieces here. Evening evergreen, soft succulent. Let's bring in my mat and bring in the dies. Oh, that little one got away. Let's put that in my pot because I'm going to need that later. And I'm just going to use this little lovely, it's like a sprig, isn't it? Created into a rectangular border. And then this, which to me is just screaming out to have a greeting added. So let's just pop these down. I desperately need to get out in the garden. Just going to move these little dots because otherwise they will leave an imprint. Yeah, I need to get down to my kitchen garden, pull out everything that is now dead, like all of the leftover beans, all the bean stalks that are still up. I have so much to do, but not enough time to do it right at this moment. But I'll get to it. But yeah, I'd love to get some bulbs in. Ellie, you would... Oh, I love that job, Ellie. Ellie's been stacking a wood delivery into the woodshed. Oh, and then you've been out and about delivering children to parties. Yeah, I remember those days. It can get quite busy, can't it? When your children are little, you're constantly toing and froing with them, aren't you? After school clubs and parties. Look how gorgeous this is. That's cut out really lovely and clean. See if we can pull it up without breaking it. I love too as well that it kind of, you could like reshape it almost. Not going to throw it. I nearly threw that in my bin. I can make something out of that. Put that bit to one side. Let's move that back. Just need to push this one out. It's really pretty. There, how lovely is that? I love the little slit in the leaf. It's the details like that that do make a difference to these die cuts. Right, so we can start popping this one together now. First of all, I'm going to add some glue to these two. Kim, you didn't get up to much. You were still in lockdown until midnight on Sunday. Well, you can kind of, I'm not saying go out there and paint the town red because obviously we still have to be sensible, don't we? Right, I'm just getting my wet wipe ready because the Tombow is out and it's already doing a volcano, look. And I only need a little bit on here. Let's start with, look at that. Beautiful, a little bit. I'm gonna run that along on the back of here. I'm going to put that down because I think some of this will probably squidge out. And I just want a little border on here. Try and get it straight if I can. When it's shimmery, it's kind of reflecting. There's a reflection on it. Reflecting, would that be the word? There's a reflection, and my eyes are so sensitive to light that when things are shining, I find it hard to see. So I'm just going to snip off the ends, get rid of that layer, and then we're left with a lovely border. Bit of adhesive on there, but my lovely rubber will get rid of that. So I just wanted to bring in a little bit of gold onto this. Okay. So before this layer goes down onto my base card, I want to add on here this piece of pattern paper. Now, I did cut it to the same size, but as accurate as we try and be, sometimes it is like a millimetre out or even smaller. So I didn't want to stick this down first onto my base, then put this on and realise it was either too short or too long. So never stick, unless if you're adding on layers, never stick anything down until you've kind of got the top pieces together. Otherwise you're going to be doing that game of pulling things up when they're nearly stuck. And then you could have tearage and all sorts of things. So this is just gonna go down here. So lower, more lower than higher on my card. This paper, honestly, push you up a bit. There. Beautiful. And now I can put that onto my top layer. And the reason, oh, I feel a cough coming. Let me have a drink. Swallowing fresh air. The reason I wanted to add my blending around here is because I wanted to keep this card quite white, but it was too much white. So that's what I love about our brushes. They just add like a real subtle amount of colour to a piece of cardstock, just to make it lift a bit. So Tombow all around this layer. And this basic white layer on the top is 3 3/4 by 5 3. It looks a little bit longer one end than the other. Is that just my eye? Let's just measure it. My top layer, my base is just a little bit, I'm going to trim it a little bit longer than 5 3/4 for some reason. Only a smidge. So I'm just taking a smidge off top and bottom. You probably won't notice any difference whatsoever, but I would. So Ellie, we're going to have to think probably, we've got quite a lot of logs here already, but I know we've got some more in storage that needs to come this way. But I love that. I love stacking the logs. Jason brings them home in those huge big builder's bags. And then we tip them out under the carport and then just sort through them and stack them up. They look lovely when they're done, don't they? Mind you, I don't know what kind of winter we're having. Everyone's saying we're going to have quite a hard winter, but last year we didn't like the fires that much, really. The house was quite toasty. Right, next I'm going to add on this lovely little rectangular sprig, and all I'm going to do, oh, I can see a bit that hasn't pushed out there. Oh, there's a couple that haven't pushed out. Didn't notice that. One there. And one there. I think that's all of them. I'm literally just going to add a teeny dot of Tombow in all corners, and then one bit in the middle. So hardly anything, but it's enough just to hold it down. And we're going to be popping something on the top of it, so you want it to go bang in the middle, like that. Now just hold down where I popped the Tombow. Stay there. There we go, like that. It's only a teeny amount of Tombow, but it's such a strong glue. Those of you that have used it, I've just added that layer on there, which it does pop out from the DSP behind, because that pattern paper is quite busy, but I feel by having the evergreen on top of it, it does pop out enough. So next I'm going to take this lovely die cut. Let's find some, oh guys, let them get into the end of another sheet. I get through these like nobody's business, but I don't care, I love them. I think they're a really good height. They're not too high, our dimensionals. Now, there's kind of no right way up or down on here, and it's kind of lower on one side but higher on the other, so it really doesn't matter which way round you put it. Makes no difference. And I want to just pop this one right over the middle, so we've kind of got an even overhang. that straight? I find it hard to do straight at the moment. I think it's straight enough. And I thought it'd be nice to add in these. We'll pop a little dimensional behind them. It's easier to stick them on with a dimensional. I might have to trim. No, this one will be all right. So I might have to trim a little bit off of the stem. If I place them strategically, I can have them so they're hidden under that die cut layer. And then this one, I think, in my world, I would really like to raise that even higher, but that's just going to cause havoc when it comes to posting. So I was going to then. Did you see? I got the dimensionals ready. I'm going to stick it flat on. The right way up would be good. And this layer fits just inside this border, this lovely die cut frame, just leaving a little gap at the top and the bottom. And that's it finished. I'm not adding anything else onto that. Try to keep it quite simple, quite plain. And as I said, I haven't really had much time to play with this, so I'm not sure that I'm in love with the 2 cards that I've made today. I need to play with it a little bit more and experiment a bit more. So I haven't pulled out like all of the dies, all of the stamps. I'm just trying to focus on a few. So the beautiful gold. Of course, you could add some gold rhinestones if you've got them, or gems. So just to really show you my original, it's exactly the same. My foliage might be in slightly more. So just in my world, quite simple. I don't know about you guys, you might think that this is far from simple. I guess it is a little way from simple. Simple's hard for me. So that's the first one. Move those out of the way for the moment and bring in the next kit. So I'm going to bring in a bit of colour for this one because I know you guys like a bit of colour. I know I may not be a fan of too much colour, but so this time I thought I would use Petal Pink. It's a really pretty pink. It's like a peachy pink. If I compare it to, because I was going to use Pale Papaya. Now if I bring in Pale Papaya, can you see how orangey it makes Pale Papaya look? And it makes Petal Pink like very salmon-y, I would say. Salmon is a very good description. But you know that I love my Pale Papaya and I use it all the time. So I thought, let's bring in something different. I would love to have pulled out Polished Pink for you. Maybe you need to challenge me, guys, to pull out the Polished Pink and bring on the Bright, because it scares me. It scares me to use it. But if that's what you guys would like to see, if you'd like to see some pops of pink, that can be arranged. Okay, 8 1/4 by 5 3/4 base. I fold it in half and just run my bone folder down the end. If you're hopping on, say hello. It's lovely to know who's here. I'm just scrolling my screen so that I can check I am still in shot. Facebook is behaving. Thank you, Facebook. The only reason I got thrown out earlier was obviously because of internet connection. Okay, so this time I've got lots of pieces cut. This is my final card as well. I'm only doing 2 today because I have got a lot to do. A lot to do, and I need to get really stuck in today, ready for my retreat. Hopefully next week time will be a bit freer, although I always say that, and then next week comes and I'm like, oh, I've got a class on Thursday morning, class on Thursday evening, I need to get kits out in the post, and it never changes. So But that's great. It's good to be busy. That's the most important thing. Now on this card, my top layer should measure 3 7/8 by 5.5, slightly wider and slightly longer, but it fits. Got a nice even border, so I'm going to stick with that. But what I'm going to do on this layer, I wanted to bring in some of this gorgeous DSP, and can you see the little dots? I wonder if I can, don't know if you can see, it's got tiny little gold dots on here that are so dainty and pretty. So I'm going to use a piece of this, a piece of the evergreen, and then from this one I'm going to cut a beautiful border using this long die. This is a huge die. It measures, I think, 6 inches. Let's have a look. Yep, it's a whopping 6 inches. So completely will run from the top of a card to the bottom. I love that you've got the stitched edge on here. So lots of opportunities to use that in different ways. Let me just run this one through. I think that's got another couple of bits. Let's do those as well. And I've cut to size 2 little pieces of cardstock, one in the gold foil and then an even and evergreen, and I'm going to cut, I love this little leaf, cut a couple of those as well. Now the reason with my gold foil, that I cut it to length, let's just scrape off those bits that are stuck in. The reason I cut this to size and not put in, let me see, where's my strip? So I have obviously larger sheets, but I've got strips of this gold foil. Now if I was to put this in here like this, put my top plate on and run it through my machine, can you see on this top plate there are like all these imprints of dies? It would mark all of this gold foil. So I only ever put through the right size piece that I need for the job. Otherwise, you get an imprint all over, let's just curve that a bit, all over your foil that's remaining. Where is my washi tape? That's a bit of a mystery. I've got one piece. I think I need to find another roll. I have lots of washi tape from Stampin' Up. When we did the Project Life, I accumulated lots of rolls. Oh, it's alive. I think what I'll do is move that over and put my lid on when I get there, because it will probably only move on that slippery piece of gold. Just run that through. So yeah, a little tip when you're using foiled papers, just have to be a bit sensible. I mean, it hasn't marked around that one too badly, but I always think just to use what you need. Chop it off and use it. I need to do another one of those. Let's just push out that bit. And then we'll deal with that one after. This is what happens when you need a new plate. Everything sticks into the little grooves. And you're always trying to get them out. So you probably heard me say last week, I've got some new dies, but I'm saving them for my retreat. New dies, new plates. If that was what I said, some new plates. Okay, let's just pull. Need to save that bit until I locate another roll. So has anybody got these? Any demonstrators that are on that have got these dies yet? Have you played with them? Look how pretty it is. Right, let's put that one back. And that one, because we don't want them to get lost. And then we end up with this piece. So if we just trim off where the die cut actually finishes, we'll lose that piece along the top. And that's just excess. How beautiful is that for a border? All the pieces fall out lovely. Now, what I was saying about the stitch, I know we've got a line, don't know if you can see, but there's a line, like a ridge here, where the edge of the die has like pressed into the cardstock when I've just ran it through the machine. But you could actually use just the stitched edge to create a border. I mean, it would be a bit of a waste, but you could run that through your cutting machine, take off that edge. If you just needed a different kind of edge for something, and just use the stitch piece. Or of course, you can use without the stitch, or add it in with the stitch, which I love. You know I love stitches and scallops. And then the final thing I need to do for this process is I've cut a strip of basic white, which is exactly the same. Oops, nearly pressed a button then. Exactly the same length, so 5.5, but I've made it, I think, 2 1/4. 2 1/4. And what I'm going to do is run that through the lovely brick and mortar embossing folder. And I want it that way because I want my bricks to be kind of upright. So I've just lined it up with this line here, and I'm going to run that through. Ellie, yours are sitting in an order, but not 100% decided if your bee might be sold by the end of the live. Yeah, we shall see. So I'm just swapping over my plates because we need different plates for embossing compared to cutting. Oh, it's lovely. Brilliant. A really great, I like this one both sides as well. I kind of like the inverted look of that one. Now this may well have shrank a little bit in length, which is why on my original I put these layers straight down onto my card, but I thought to be safe, because I'll show you after, I was a bit short on one of these layers. To be safe, we'll add it onto a piece of basic white, and then we can trim it all before it goes down onto our actual base card. So to start with, let's just pop down this brick and mortar layer. It's lovely as well, this, because even though you've got like the brick texture, on the bricks you've got a texture as well. So you've got like the shape of the brick. I'm going to hold it up and show you close. Pop that down on. Can you see, like on the bricks, you've got like a brick texture? So clever. Great for masculine cards, but definitely not just for masculine cards. This is for anything. Really good set, embossing folder rather. And yeah, isn't it pretty? It's really pretty, this. I just need a bit more time to play with this set, which I'm using it for team training next week, so I will be playing with it more. Now this I'm going to cut roughly, I'm going to make it a little bit longer, and I'm going to attach it to this border first. Where's my Tombow? So let's just run Tombow down there. And then add it. I want the stitching to be shown. Let's go down a little bit, because I'm looking at that edge there and I've got like a little straight bit. Wouldn't probably matter, but oh, this paper, have I said that 20 times already? I've ordered a couple of packs, but I think I'm going to have to order another before the pre-order ends, because I don't want to run out of this. I feel a nice Christmas class coming on with this paper. It's that like pop of gold. It's just so pretty. Now, next what I want to do is add on this piece of Evening Evergreen. And I'm thinking of you, Katie. I know you're probably not on this morning. I haven't heard from you a little bit, but Katie says, why do we, when we've got a piece of plain cardstock like this, why do we always turn it over to add glue? It's just habit, isn't it? It's because with pattern paper, we always turn it over and glue the reverse. Now here I can see, can you see it's, oh, I've got green ink on me, but I've got a little bit of white overlap in there, but we can trim that after. This is why I decided to do this on this layer rather than directly onto my card like I did on my original. So next I'm going to add in this bordered layer. Look at that lovely ombre on the reverse. This is the hardest thing with a pack of paper like this that I think is just gorgeous on both sides. You need to have as much of it as you can. Let's start with this straight, because you want to use both sides of each one. I just want a little bit of the evergreen popping out at the end. I think that is straight. So I've not added any adhesive to this layer. It's just going to pop up there. Don't need to glue all of that down. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop that in my trimmer and just trim off those edges. Let's just take out that bit of glue because I don't want that on my trimmer. And that bit of paper that was stuck to me. Trim off the edges. And then we end up with this. And now this can go straight down onto my base. And we'll know we haven't got any bits that are overhanging. These edges are all nice and neat and tidy. So Tombow on the back. Got a bit of overhang there, but it looks straight, so I'm not bothered about that. It looks straight from my eyes anyway. Not a great judge of that. Okay. Give it a good press, make sure it's there. And then that's our first layer. How do we all feel about petal pink? Is it your kind of pink, or are you more a polished pink kind of person? Right, what goes next? We've got our lovely label. This was from, I cut it from the seasonal label dies that I've been using the last couple of weeks on my lives. And what I'm going to do is add some colour to it, just so that it stands out from the rest of the card. So just pick a bit up. I don't want too much, just a bit of colour around the edges. Just a bit, not a lot. Just to lift it a little. Might need to pull a bit more on there. So although the sun is out and it's beautiful, it's quite fresh. I've got the heating on over here in the studio this morning, and I did have to turn it up a notch. Mind you, it's so responsive over here. You only turn it up one notch, and then within about 10 minutes, it's pretty warm, and then you've got to turn it back down. So I've just added a bit of colour to that layer. And we'll pop a couple of dimensionals behind. Starting a new sheet again. It's tricky using a new sheet. And I'm going to pop one in the middle just so that we don't get any sag in there. And I think I can pop this one straight down on. And we can work on our card now. I'm just checking. I think it's going in the middle. I don't think it will hurt where it goes, but roughly in the middle. I have to hold it up to see if it's straight. Still not convinced. I think it was straight before I fiddled. Why am I such a faffer? I do ask myself that question a lot, believe me. And I hear you saying a lot, stop faffing, leave it, it's fine. It's fine. I've got another skinny strip of the gold foil. Gonna cut a little point at one edge. Annette, you love the soft, subtle tone of petal pink, but you also like polished pink. Yeah, I don't dislike the colour polished pink. I just find when I make something that's got really bright colours on, it really bothers me. Thank you. You like my colour combinations. You think they're so elegant. Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say. I guess it's like my thing, isn't it? I just love my subtles. You like both, Kim? Yep. I mean, let me bring in polished pink. It's shocking. In my world, that is shocking. In my world, that is fluorescent. It's so bright, but a little pop of it in small doses. Love that with Misty Moonlight or Night of Navy. Love a bit of like cerise pink with that. So I've got a little strip of the gold. Also need to do another greeting. And as I said, I'm going to stick with the same one. So I'm going to have the hello there. Covers lots of bases. Better bring my scrap in to save my big sheet. Have it as close to me as I can so that you can still see. And try and line it in straight. A little bit low and a little bit crook, but I think the way that this font is, it's a little bit forgiving, if you know what I mean. It's not kind of got a really straight edge where you would notice it being little bit skew-if, for want of a better word. So we've got our hello there. Let's put that on. I want it to sit on that little strip of gold. I think I might just trim off a little bit. And I'll pop that one down first. Pop it straight on. Struggling. Vicky, you like subtles and brights. It just depends what you want on a card. Yeah, I guess that's a really good point. If I was making something for the grandchildren maybe, or for somebody younger, I probably would want to use some sort of bright colours, you know, like primary colours, I guess. So yeah, I guess it does depend on the project and what you are making. I'm going to pop my greeting. Not adding any more dimensionals as much as I'd like to, because I've already popped this layer up. I don't want to make it too much higher. So I'm just going to sit that one down on top, just above the gold. Stay there, it keeps popping up. I do love Tombow that you can wiggle things around. My MacBook just went to sleep then. So I've just popped that in there. Ellie, you're quite good with colours and that though, aren't you? You're not like me, you're not scared to use a bit of colour. The strange thing is, I love other people's creations with colour. It's not that I don't enjoy the colour, I don't enjoy the bright projects. It's when I make them myself and then I look at them I just don't feel comfortable with it. It's really strange. I guess, and that's what it is, isn't it? I'm in my comfort zone with my settles, so that's why you always see the soft things. Right, ahead of time, I have, it's my little pot of bits that are left. You can see I've not played a lot with this because that's all I've got left over. I've cut this lovely ferny, where's my bone folder? Ferny image out. Give it a bit of a curl and a tweak. You have to be gentle curling with things like this because you can easily pull off a whole stem and then you have to fussy cut it out again. So we've got a couple of those. We've got these two lovely die cut pieces we did earlier just to bring in some of the gold. And then the other thing I used, which I used last week with you, is the peach dies. But last week I used these tiny little flower centres. I'm trying to think what I did now. Where are they? Oh, there they are over there. I used the petal pink, didn't I, and the soft suede. But this time I'm going to use these larger flowers. I've just cut a couple quickly out of shot. Oops. And I'm going to do them in petal pink. You know, I don't like to pull in too many other projects when I'm creating, but I didn't really have any embellishments to take the place of these flowers. And although we have these gorgeous ones, the round ones that I would have wanted to use are just a bit, they've got they're iridescent, so they kind of look green in one light and then they're cherry cobbler in another. And I didn't want to use these either, so watch this space for me using those. But for this purpose, the word didn't want to come out, purpose, I wanted to use these little flowers, which are so, so useful in that peach set. And I'll put the centres in after. So let's just build up. I'm not going to add dimension to these either. I'm going to just pop them down in. I've stuck that so well, nothing's going to slide behind now, is it? Let's just trim a little bit off. I want it to come quite low. Let's just slide that in and over. Oop, came out. That's it. Just sliding it in. Just love that stamp. And then the other one we'll put down at the bottom. Let's try sliding it in first. That's okay. Not too much adhesive going on down there. Pop that one in. Down there. And then I thought these two down at the bottom would work nicely. Just showcase, haven't pressed that down, I want to wait until this one's in. Just showcase the dies a little more. Don't want them poking out too much. I think that'll be enough. Let's just press that down because they both got Tombow on the bottom. I think my bone folder would work better for that. That's it. So they're just kind of popping out underneath. Bit of gold. And then the flowers just to finish. As I mentioned earlier, I tend to like pop them into like a triangular. I've got new putty as well. Treated myself to a new squidge of putty. those flowers and lay them down. Someone is snoring under the table. Bless him, I think he's still exhausted from the weekend. They love it though. He had a swim in the river. And he had, after his swim, he had an ice cream, a proper doggy one. He loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then to finish, in my little pot, let's pick them out with this. You know, you see me using these all the time. They're from the Christmas Trimmings die set, I want to say. I'm going to find it. As I said, if I just used bling, you wouldn't have to pull out these other two die sets, but I use this all the time to add a little bit of something extra to a card, you know, to fill a white space. And I'm just going to clean the end of my Tombow so it's nice and clear, because I want to control it enough just to get a little tiny bit of glue in the centre. Can you see that? Just a teeny bit of glue, just so that it holds these in place, but without too much squidging out. And then when that's completely dry, I will like lift up the petals on these flowers a bit, just so that they're like a little bit raised. So there we go, second card done. And that is it for me today, just 2 cards. I was a bit pushed for time in creating, and also I didn't want to be on for too long this morning, which I'm still at 1 hour and 18 minutes. How does that happen? Here's my original, pretty much the same, but I just like to sort of lift the petals up on these flowers. So I'm not sure that I love the petal pink. I was trying to think what other colour could I use. I used Fresh Freesia last week, so I didn't want to pull that back in. But I think petal pink does work lovely with the soft succulent and the evening evergreen. Hello, Belle. How are you, my lovely? I need to catch up with you. I started watching some of it. You like the gold details? Yeah, loving this paper. Let's move these ink pads out of the way and just bring back in. I think this is definitely my favourite because it's just so white. But like I said, you could add some of these little flowers, you could add in to bring a pop of colour. So there we go. That's my little insight into the Eden's Garden collection. As I mentioned, it's coming. Where's the rest of my paperwork? Coming on the 2nd of November. And it will be available until the 3rd of January, which is when on the 4th, the mini catalogue, dare I say, 2022, will go live. But remember that these products won't be available after that date, and they are only available while supplies last. So when they're gone, they're gone. So if, like me, you love this pattern paper, you need to stock up on it as soon as it comes out, because you don't want to be disappointed. And I think this will be great. Let's bring it back in. Some of the patterns in here will just work so well for Christmas projects. Love that one. They will make beautiful Christmas projects. They're all lovely. And you get 12 whole sheets, which is a lot. It does go a long way. So I think that's it from me today. Final chance to book, just quickly throw this in. Final chance to book for my 6-card class in the post. So it's using the Christmas season. So we've got 3 Christmas, 3 non-Christmas cards. Obviously you don't get any stamped images, but you get all your card bases, layers, die cut labels, and I usually throw in extra die cut pieces like foliage and flowers if I can as well. If you don't want 3 non-Christmas, you can have 6 Christmas if you want to, so there's always that option. Booking should still be open on my events website, and you can find that via my website, kerrytims.co.uk. Click on the tab at the top that says events and classes, and then you'll see in the calendar that booking should still be open. I hope it is. If not, I will reset the date so that you can add on. Yeah, so I think that's it from me. So thank you all for stopping by. It's been lovely to craft with you. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Vicky. You're liking them all. Yeah, they're pretty, aren't they? They are pretty. I think this one is my favourite, but this one's growing on me. I've got a lot more playing to do with it yet. I am excited to see what I can do with this. Super excited. So I just need more time. I'll get there. Anyway, I love you and leave you. Thank you once again for stopping by. Please take care, everybody. Those of you that are just coming out of lockdown, be careful, stay safe, and everybody else as well. Take care, guys, and I'll be back with you all very soon. So bye for now.